Hello friends, Psyberry here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a class mod, the Crystalline Herald. This mod was created by Deadlist and Hesterer, and I will, if I remember, include a link to the Steam page in the description below. First, let's look at the class stats. Right over here we got the HP at opening resolve is 28, which is, as it scales up, it seems to be approximate to the Crusader, maybe a little bit less. So it's a really high HP pool. We got a dodge that starts at 5, scales all the way to 25 at maximum resolve, which is average. The speed is a little below average at 3 at opening resolve. No change to the accuracy or the prot as it levels up. The crit actually starts at 2, which is a little... it's close to the average, but it scales slower. So at maximum level it'll be about 4%, I think, if I remember right. The damage is similar to other backline classes like the Vestal and the Plague Doctor. It's very comparable to that in damage. Now the canon name of this class is Celeste, according to the creators. This class was released on Steam in November of this year, 2020. And what you'll notice if I scale through these skills, you'll notice it kind of has the role of a tank / healer. It's got its own self-stress removal. So it's very tanky, and we'll get more into its virtue affliction later. That's also relevant in this. So let's look at this first skill. It's called Protective Shells. It's going to be usable from any spot, any rank. It's going to guard an ally, and then activate Riposte on self. And there's a 5% chance that it will give you a block, an Aegis block. It's going to buff you, plus 10% protection. And on Riposte, it's going to have a plus 4% crit chance, but a minus 50% damage on Riposte. So you'll see this is pretty standard Riposte skill as far as the some kind of small buff, and then the debuff to the damage on Riposte to keep things kind of balanced. But what's unique about this is it also guards an ally with the same action. So it's like a expedited version of the Man-at-Arms tactic to guard and riposte. And it can be really good for tanking. Second skill is Cleansing Crystals. It can be used from the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th rank, and it can be used on any ally square. It will heal the target. Starting at opening resolve, it'll heal 1 to 2 damage, and it will have a healing over time effect on both the target and the Crystalline Herald. If you use it on yourself, it will double the healing over time effect. So we got kind of a functional heal here, but it also kind of keeps her HP topped off as much as possible, which is really helpful. Third skill on the list is Reality Bend. It's a usable from any rank, and it hits any rank on the opposite side. It's a ranged attack, accuracy base 90, crit mod plus 4%. It bypasses stealth, and it debuffs the target minus 20% healing received. And the base value for effectiveness there is pretty average with a debuff. So what we've got here is kind of an average accuracy, 100% damage attack, just 1-for-1 hitting somebody, and the fact that it's functional for hitting the back ranks is really useful. The fourth skill, Beyond Time and Space. It's a ranged attack, accuracy base 90, damage mod minus 60%, a crit mod minus 100%, so this will never crit. It hits with Shuffle for 2 rounds with a 90% activation base. Shuffles group 60% chance. The enemy party clears all corpses, and it will stress you. It stresses 9. This has been patched early on. It was, I believe, the listed value for stress was per target, but if you're hitting multiple targets, it will affect you in multiples of that number. So they've turned it to 9, and it should work functionally like that now. The 5th skill, Calming Crystals, is usable from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd rank, and it will just de-stress yourself. Minus 10 stress at opening resolve. I believe it scales up to something close to 20. So it's really functional for taking that stress off of herself. It kind of functions well with Beyond Time and Space if you want to use that for any functional reason. The 6th skill is Temporal Crystals. It's usable from the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd rank, and it hits any of the opposite enemy ranks. Has an accuracy base of 95, damage mod of minus 70, a crit mod of plus 6%, and it can stun with a 90% effectiveness. So what you'll see here is it's not as functional as the stun of, let's say, an occultist or a crusader, but it can be buffed to be comparable. The accuracy base is a little higher than average, which means you're not going to miss as often. So it's kind of a functional stun skill. I don't personally use it a lot, but it can have a lot of utility. In the 7th skill, we have Crystalline Resonance. It is usable from the 2nd or 3rd rank, and I believe it hits either the 2nd or 4th rank, or it hits both. I have not used it, and a lot of the times I see it stagger the targets in the opposite ranks. It usually targets both. So this is a mystery to me as far as whether it hits both or one. I apologize. Otherwise, it will affect bleed on the target at 100% base effectiveness at a rate of 1 point per round for 3 rounds, and it could activate blight with the same effectiveness for 1 point per round for 3 rounds. So if you've got a let's say you're going into the Wield, and you've got some kind of trinket on here that boosts the chance to blight and bleed, and you're hitting people for not a lot, but you're going to blight and bleed them. If you got synergy in your party for that, this can be really effective for weakening and softening those targets up. Alright, let's run straight to the camping skills. The first of the unique camping skills is Reinforced Crystals. It's a time cost 5, self-only, plus 20% prot for 3 battles, and 50% damage reflection for 3 battles. This is bread and butter if you can afford it. Time cost 5 means it's a little spendy, but if you're the kind of party that likes to run into the quest, immediately start camping to get those buffs rolling, this is really useful. The second camping skill, Color of Light. Time cost 4, self-only. It adds plus 30% bleed skill chance for 3 battles and plus 30% blight skill chance for 3 battles. This is really functional if you are using Crystalline Resonance. As it only affects yourself, it's not the best for improving your party's dynamic, but it is a very self-serving skill that the Crystalline Herald can get some utility use out of in certain comps. The third unique camping skill, Gather the Dust. It's a time cost 1, self-only, produce 1 shard dust, suffer 10% HP damage, and you can use it up to 3 times per camp. Now this basically gives you the shard dust as you would get out of the provisions menu, only you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to use your shards down here to buy them, which is pretty functional. It's nice if you use shard dust a lot, or if you're on a boss round and you just want to get a little space meth bonus to your party. Well, go ahead, just camp beforehand. Make sure you save enough for your time cost 1 Gather the Dust. And the fourth unique camping skill, Herald's Eye, is a time cost 3, self-only, minus 20% stress. All companions, though, have a 30% chance of gaining 15 stress. These, I believe, are rolled separately. I haven't used it a lot. A lot of my party comps have had the other parties responsible for, stress relief in the camping. But typically when I see these kind of skills, they are separately rolled. So you could get really lucky and have none of them gain stress, or you can get really unlucky and all of them will gain 15 stress. Alright, the other things to know about this character, reiterating again, its roles are kind of a tank, healer, riposte kind of tech going on here. The other thing you might want to know is the virtue and affliction of this class is customized. It is 80% likely when it hits 100% stress to virtue with a custom virtue that will give it damage reflection. It'll give it 35% prot as long as it is virtuous. But stress gains increase rapidly, so you kind of power through that virtuous state really quickly. Much more quickly than any other class would. On the other side of that coin, you have a 20% likelihood to run into the custom affliction Frail Crystals. It disables protection on this class. It's not able to have it from trinkets or its own skills. It disables its guard skills, and stress healing is drastically reduced. And by drastically, I mean I have definitely run into this affliction before and used a max level -18 calming crystals, and it was healing like 3. Party comp wise, she is highly functional as a tank role. She's serviceable as a healer. I'm not so sure I would have her be the only healer if you have a particularly squishy comp, or not a way to double up a turn, that kind of thing. So usually what I run is something along the lines of get the protective shells going round 1, have one of these two for attacking or finishing off a kill. And typically I have the heal. I like to run calming crystals, but only when you're far enough in the dungeon to really need to use it. Until then, I will either have a stun, beyond time and space for the shuffle, or crystalline resonance. I do find, though, that this class has a lot of synergy with other riposte tech and or other guard classes. And I guess for further reference, maybe an idea of quirks to look out for. As a tank, I like to look out for things like hard-skinned or things that improve dodge. I've got Corbett's Grace on this one. Hippocratic, if you luck into that, that will help. However, it will only affect the initial heal. And as you see here with the max resolve level, the heal portion of cleansing crystals does 5 to 6. So Hippocratic kind of brings that up to more of a 7-8 range, which is pretty functional. It's not going to keep up damage-wise, but it will keep somebody off death's door. And that's also what the healing over time is going to help with as well. So again, look out for quirks that are going to help your evasiveness, your dodge, or that are going to add to your protection. If you are using them, say, to cause bleed or blight, maybe something that will help there. If you want something that reduces stress, but primarily, this is kind of the meat and potatoes over here. Trinket-wise, they have their own, obviously, but stuff to kind of keep mindful of. If you can get a standardized prot from some source, take it. I'm using a couple of the trinkets that came with the class mod itself, and then I'm also using the Ancestors map, just because in my current party, that seems like the most likely source to put that on. As far as specific trinkets go, I personally like the Galaxy Crystal. It's a Crystalline Herald only trinket. It adds 20 to the damage dealt. It adds 10 to the dodge of the Herald, and it adds 10% to stun skill chance. All this comes at the cost of minus 40% stun resistance, which is pretty hefty if you get targeted by such things, and it will add 20% to the stress gain of this class. Alright, and then aside from that, I figured I can show you real quick, probably a few combats. Let's just pick a quest here. I've got a team assembled. They should be all loaded up with trinkets. Yep, looks good. I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit how it works with a team that I've assembled that should work mostly flawlessly with the Crystalline Herald.
Excise the fungal tumors, and the land may yet live.
And the land may yet live. No, I'm not going to show you the whole quest. I can't guarantee how long any of these quests that I'm going to pick during these class mod things are going to last, so I'm just going to basically show you how a few combats roll with the classes in question. Alright, we got some generic enemies here. We got some... They're basically from the low-level dungeons, so these should be pretty simple to deal with, straightforward. I'd like to double up the turn for our little lovely tank friend. Nice and early. Oh, they don't need that. Let's go straight for the damage ramp. Alright, being in the front means I can't use my healing skill. So I will start off by guarding the succubus. My other trinket, whenever I target with a friendly skill to one of my allies,
Impressive.
it activates a small stress heal on both the Herald and the ally you targeted, so she becomes kind of like a semi-functional, small amount stress healer. Let's finish him off.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
So now, as you'll notice, I've got one person completely guarded by a riposter, and then I've got the riposte of the highwayman. So I've got this wall, so as long as I target 3 out of, the 4 party members, I'm riposting, and one of them will receive no damage from such attacks. And here on round 2, I should activate a riposte with the Harlot a lot of these times as well. So this party actually has a lot of synergy in the fact that anytime we're attacked after round 2, it's going to activate a riposte.
Slowly.
And as long as you keep up on the healing, the Herald is... all you need is a healer at high levels. At low levels, where you're only healing 1 to 2, other than the healing over time, it might not be an option you can solely rely on. Maybe run it with something like a Crusader that can back them up in a pinch, get people off Death's Row, or Death's Door, excuse me. Man, they really don't want me to get into second combat now, do they? Oh well, I'm here to show you. Probably my target goal is 3 combats, highlighting the
As the light gains
function
purchase,
of this class.
spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
Let's activate Beyond Time and Space. Make it a little more of a attacking build. Oh, there we go. There's where all the combats are. Let's run up here.
Packs laden with loot.
See, I don't need these
low on
heirlooms.
supplies.
This is my main file that has been, you know, in existence for quite a while now.
Nature herself.
I only infrequently
victim to the
use
spreading corruption.
nowadays.
Malformed with misintent.
But I figured it was the easiest one to test a lot of these class mods to see if I enjoy their style or if they're gonna, you know, muddle the gameplay of the main Let's Play by being either too highly tuned
May we find
or
victory.
just redundant in the class options. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna double up on turn 1. Now normally I could double up on the Succubus and get 2 damage ramps in this party too. But I'm here to show you
Destroyed.
what the Crystalline Herald can do, not the other way around. So giving her 2 turns is probably the best bet for this purpose. Alright, we're going to use Beyond Time and Space. Ooh, a double dodge. That is a rough one. At least we know now that if it doesn't hit anybody, you don't get stress from it. You know what? I'm doing it again. Because the shuffle can be good. Here it brought our stress damage dealer up into the front ranks.
Lapse in concentration.
That's enough damage. I'm satisfied with 45%. With my build, anyway. Oh, come on. You are not that dodgy. He is, but you're not. There we go. Let's do this.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
That is plenty of bleed. Alright, let's try and lower the stress on our Succubus over here. Slow and steady wins the race if you're using her to somewhat ramp down the stress of other classes. It's not going to be very effective. It is a slow, happening in the background kind of deal. Let's do a little more damage. What is your bleed at? 9? Hey, counter. Now I need to reset the block from the Crystalline Herald if he lasts longer. Oh, he should die before he gets another turn. Should be golden.
Their cursed champion falls.
And just like that,
These
boom goes the
nightmarish
dynamite.
creatures can be felled.
I don't
They can be
need
beaten.
these or those. Oops, I just got rid of the tapestry. Oh well, I mean, it's not like it's gonna help me. Alright. Last combat to highlight. And I realize I haven't used the other moves, which I don't typically, which is fine, I suppose. But alright, I realize I haven't equipped or used the skills that I don't typically on the Crystalline Herald. But overall, I mean, as long as you factor in that my conclusion here is that this class is highly functional as a tank, it is highly functional as a healing over time healer to keep people off of death's door. If you don't want to run something like a Vestal that heals the entire party, it's a worthy option, and its main attack ignores stealth. Like this. All right. Well, that should be enough of a show and tell, so to speak. I hope you enjoyed the video today. The Crystalline Herald, check it out on Steam, and keep tuning in for Let's Plays on Saturdays and another class mod next Wednesday. Thank you. Stay frosty.